Helen Mirren is here. If you were in Great Britain, you knew her as a Shakespearean actor. If you were a television fan, you knew her because she played the principal character in Prime Suspect. She is now Queen Charlotte in The Madness of King George, and I am pleased to have her here. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. At last.
At last.
Yeah, we've been trying to get together.
Yes, we have.
Just missing each other by seconds.
I know, the last time...
Gone.
Yes.
Oh, she's gone.
It was Santa Monica,
and
it was raining.
Yes,
and the hotel was leaking. That's right.
We could write a sort of Sleepless in Seattle around this theme.
You do this to every man, though, I know. And in fact, the man in your life is a friend of mine. Taylor Hackford and I both began as young producers for public television.
Yes, and documentary. Well, Taylor also made
documentaries,
and was the guy in the front with the microphone, and yes, in public television.
What's he working on now?
He's just made a film with Kathy Bates and Jennifer Jason Leigh called Dolores Claiborne, which is based on a book by Stephen King, which is one of Stephen King's very psychological dramas. A very, very good story. That was shot in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Tell me about The Madness of King George, because Nigel Hawthorne was here on...
Yes, I heard, yes.
And was terrific,
said,
yes. But is Queen Charlotte your kind of woman?
Well, she was. I was very happy to play her mostly because of the diamonds and the dresses and the wigs. So there's nothing I love more than getting dressed up.
Yes, I know.
I guess immediately regressed to the kind of 5-year-old, and yes, I want a bigger dress and more hair. Unfortunately, Barbie dolls weren't in existence when I was a child, but I would have loved Barbie dolls, and queens in a funny way in those days were sort of Barbie dolls. They got laden with jewels, so the image became very, very important.
For those who didn't see the play, Nick Heitner directed.
Yeah.
Now, does he make is he the filmmaker as well?
Absolutely, he directed the film. He directed the play that was here and also in London, and it was his first outing as a film director.
How was he?
He was great. He was absolutely completely unfazed, and it's pretty stressful making a film, especially if you're not familiar with the technicalities. But he had a very good cameraman in Andrew Dunn that he trusted and could rely on, and also he's a very visual director, Nick. So his stage plays and operas are very visually directed, and in fact he directed Miss Saigon, for example. And I always thought when I saw Miss Saigon that it was very filmic. He has a filmic sense.
Didn't he direct
even on
Carousel
stage,
as well?
And he directed Carousel, so he has a very heightened.
Heitner has a heightened.
Yeah, heightened visual sense, which obviously is what you need on film.
For those who don't know, what's the story?
The story is about, as someone said today, a footnote in history, but it was a moment in history when one of our kings, King George, the one who was most famous for losing America,
yes,
went mad, went spectacularly, publicly, and appallingly mad, and very quickly, almost overnight, and behaved just extremely embarrassingly at various royal functions, formal functions, until the courtiers around him realized that they just couldn't let this carry on, and so it's a film about the nature of power, the nature of monarchy, what a monarchy is.
The nature of madness?
Sort of the nature of madness, but really what a monarch is, and is a mad monarch still a monarch, so...
Is a mad prince still a prince?
Is a mad prince still a prince? Our prince is not mad. Is a mad princess is still a princess?
Now, how do you...
I think the answer is no to that one.
Well, tell me what you think of that, as we sort of go tangentially off to the Windsor, House of Windsor. Yes, royal gossip. I mean, are you...
I'm a Republican. I'm an anti-monarchist.
And you don't believe in the monarchy?
I don't believe in the monarchy. I think it's ridiculous.
So if the House of Windsor collapses on the shoals of the...
I shall be happy.
You will be happy?
I'll be a very happy person. But having said that, I have great respect. I'd like certain members of the royal family.
Which ones do you like the most?
I like Princess Anne a great deal.
Yeah.
She has dignity, intelligence, she works very hard, she has absolute sense of duty. I also
she's a very good horse person, is she not?
She's also happens to be a very good rider, but she does it the right way, in a very unself-serving way. Not nearly as glamorous as Diana, just because she's not so pretty, but a much better, much more noble person, actually, I think. I like Charles, but I just think the marriage was tragically mistaken, wrong.
You know what I can't understand is why they're so compelled to come forward and tell everything.
I know, why?
I mean, why is Diana's lover feel like he's got to tell everybody about what happened to him?
I know. Why do they?
Naive me, I probably understand. It probably has to do with what the publisher offered him to tell his story.
I think partly that, but I don't think that can't be the end of the story. And I think that you underestimate the glamour or the power of someone in your position, you, Charlie Rose, doing this show.
Yes.
In other words, kind of being on television, having your picture in the papers, sort of thing. Of course, Diana and Charles don't need that, but someone like Hewitt, who was the man who sold his story about having an affair with Diana, it's this moment of celebrity that they just can't resist. I think they just can't resist it, being a public face.
It's the same reason so many people, not for this broadcast, but it's not that nature, but will go on talk shows, ordinary people, and I mean by that the best sense of the word. Yeah, the best sense of the word. I don't mean ordinary in terms of they're higher or lower than anyone else, but just people who live ordinary lives away from the public glare are attracted like a moth to flame in order to be on television and tell their story.
Telling their story is not even important, I don't think.
It's just being
on television.
They'll tell your story if you put them on television.
It's just like, I'm on television, you know, it's an irresistible thing, and it's funny, the ubiquitousness of television nowadays, of cameras, of camcords, everyone's got their own camcorder, all families can make little films of themselves and put them on the telly and see themselves on telly, only seems to feed that frenzy more and more. I thought people would get tired of it and blasé, but the opposite seems to be happening. The people more and more seem to be becoming frenzied with the idea of celebrity, you know.
Back to the royal family 1 second. Is there a consensus among the people you know, just your sample, as to favoring one side or the other in the breakup of the marriage? Did Charlie die?
No, I don't talk to them about it, quite honestly. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Because I think most people in America have an opinion about O.J. Simpson. I mean, it's like our daily soap opera.
Yeah. They have an opinion, but maybe their opinion changes on a daily basis
depending on what
depending on what they're reading and what they see and so on and so forth. I think gossip is one thing, but a kind of a real questioning of something that I think is very fundamental to the British mentality, which is the existence of the monarchy, the royal kingdom, the United Kingdom. It's a kingdom, you know, and that means a great deal to the British people, even if they don't articulate it on a daily basis. When someone says, I'm British, I'm sure that a part of saying that is some deep connection with the sense of a royal family, of a monarchy. And I think now that is finally being questioned, undermined, I think it's more that, do you know what I mean, rather than the superficial sense of gossip about who did what and whose side you're on.
You live in both places, yes?
I live in America and England.
And in England as well. You choose to do that because both places, you work in both places, and both places in a more
Well, I choose to do that because Taylor lives in America.
Right.
And I work in England. So
if you didn't work in England, you'd probably stay most of the time in the United States? It's not some inexorable pull to be there.
Oh, I think it's that too. I think it's that too. I'm pulled to both places, and I always have been. When I was a very small girl, I used to lie in bed in my little bed in this very suburban part of dormitory town in London, outside London, most unglamorous place in the whole of England, really. And I used to sit there, and I could see the stars, and there was a particular little configuration of stars that to me made an A, huge A in the sky, and to me that said America. And I used to lie in bed looking up at that when I was like 12 or 13.
Have you been?
Saying, one day I will go to America. You know, it was like this this incredibly glamorous, exciting place.
Did you find all that glamour and excitement when you came to Hollywood?
Well, in a way, there's, you know, the superficial image of America when you first see it. I mean, I actually first saw America in that sense, not in Los Angeles at all, but where the hell was I? Well, I guess in Hawaii when I was on my way to Australia, but later on, really I think probably in New York. But when you first land in America and you look out the aeroplane and there are these guys with shades on and guns and sort of sweat, you know, and my God, it looks, you know, it fulfills all your expectations immediately. Just that imagery is.
Everybody wants me to talk about Prime Suspect. You're now prepared to make Prime Suspect 3, yes?
3,
Suspect
4,
4.
well, 4, 5 and 6.
4, 5 and 6.
Yes, but each will be 2 hours long, 2-hour stories.
And
because before there were 4-hour stories, you see.
So these are going to be us 3
lots of 2-hour stories.
2-hour stories, yeah. And they'll first appear.
Sort of connected, but not.
Yeah. Was this role just there?